Doomscrolling is a term now being applied to describe the obsessive behavior of spending massive amounts of time scrolling through negative news. The term was developed to label a phenomenon first noted in 2018, which saw people spending long periods of time scrolling through pages of negative news using handheld devices or desktop computers. This newly defined obsession is one that is raising alarm bells among physicians and psychologists. Health professionals and researchers have realized the need to examine the effects of doomscrolling. The University of Florida recently published a research paper, "The Dark at the End of the Tunnel: Doomscrolling on Social Media Feeds." The paper described a technique to measure doomscrolling, thus enabling investigation on the motivation of people addicted to the practice, and to be able to study the psychological impact of binging on negative news. The study made clear that this is much more than a person just wanting to be informed about a topic, but rather occurs when an individual is obsessed with trying to make sense of perceived crisis. This excessive focus on that which is negative can damage mental health. Psychotherapist Tess Brigham explains, those who struggle with anxiety or anxiety-related disorders such as panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and social anxiety disorder are especially prone to doomscroll because anxiety is about control or lack of control. The more anxious we feel, the more we try to control the situations and people around us. Being informed seems like a good way to control what is happening around us, but it actually just creates more anxiety and fear. She pointed out the feeling of, if I know what's happening, I can be better prepared when things get bad, is also the reason for doomscrolling. Daily doomscrolling isn't a wise idea if you're striving for good mental health. In fact, it's bad for your mental health because there's no real benefit to doomscroll. It only makes you more anxious and paranoid about the world around you. So put your phone down and just go to sleep. Angela Watercutter, writing for Wired, quotes a Harvard expert looking into this new phenomenon. Mesfin Bakalu, a research scientist at Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health, notes that while a lot of news is bad, as humans we have a natural tendency to pay more attention to negative news. Since the 1970s, we know of the mean world syndrome, the belief that the world is a more dangerous place to live in than it actually is, as a result of long-term exposure to violence-related content on television. Bakalu says, so doomscrolling can lead to the same long-term effects on mental health unless we mount interventions that address users' behaviors and guide the design of social media platforms in ways that improve mental health and well-being. Watercutter goes on to explain that in our current Western society, people feel there are many problems to which there are no solutions. She quotes Nicole Ellison from the University of Michigan, who observed that there is a lot of demand on cognitive processing to make sense of this. There is no overarching narrative that helps. The last comment is revealing. In years past, there was an overarching trust in one's nation or empire's ability to address issues. And if that failed, there was ultimately the belief that we are a function of the will of a higher power, a God, to whom anyone, rich or poor, could turn for support, encouragement, and understanding. But a loss of that patriotism and the religious beliefs that used to be a part of our social context has made people feel more and more unsupported. With these two pillars of social order missing in much of the West today, with individuals each trying to understand the world on their own, depending on obsessive behaviors and escapism through drugs, little wonder we have the mental health issues we do.
If you like this video, then please comment, like, and subscribe. And for more content like this, please visit our website at tomorrowsworld.org.